I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I love that.
I'm trying to pick a different sound effect to do.
That was Xena Warrior Princess. I love it.
I'm feeling the vibes.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? And welcome to our fun-filled Love is Blind after show here on AfterBuzz TV.
It's fun. It's full of fun, for sure.
It's gonna be fun. I feel the vibes. Let's start off on a great foot. If you're tuning in, you're probably joining us on the AfterBuzz reality competition channel. You know, we love talking about dating, all things competition fun, and this is a new show to kind of throw into the mix. Love is Blind.
Absolutely. Netflix is getting in the love game, and that's
They
dope.
are. But before we jump into all that, I need to introduce myself and this lovely panel that I'm joined by. I am your host, Christine Alexis. Not new to this reality TV game. You can, if you follow AfterBuzz TV, you've probably seen me on the Bachelor after show. So this is definitely up my wheelhouse. But I am not alone. I am joined by two rock star hosts who are gonna hold it down for the guys on this panel and really give us the tea about these relationships.
Yeah. We were fighting before backstage, so we have different perspectives as it is.
I've got three perspectives.
Yes. Introduce yourself, Lovo.
Hi, how's it going? It's Lovo Boys. Thank you so much for inviting me here to this Netflix show I didn't know existed until today. I'm so glad to talk about relationships, love, and everything in between.
Yes, and we're also joined by the lovely Mike Feeling.
What's up, guys? You guys know me. I basically just do the silly relationship reality shows here on AfterBuzz, Bachelor. I'm doing Bachelor and Married at First Sight right now. So right along with Love is Blind, I have a theme.
My man.
Yeah, I love it.
Triple dose of love.
You're a hero.
I love love. I love love.
And if you love love, you're probably tuned into our show. So thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to like, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up on this video. But let's just jump right into it, guys. As we said, Netflix is kind of throwing their hat into the ring with this new show.
Yeah.
It's kind of falling in the line of like The Circle, which also recently premiered on Netflix. Also a UK show that was kind of adapted here in the US. So,
Right.
Initial thoughts about the show. It's hosted by Vanessa and Nick Lachey, which
is it really though? Because they basically came out and explained the rules. So maybe it's really true. The setup. So maybe when they get more into it and we get into episode 4, 5, 6, because I feel like the first 3 episodes are just going to be, okay, who matches up, who pairs up, who's going to propose, and then, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we'll see the aftermath of them living together, and do they actually go through with the wedding. So Vanessa and Nick Lachey, honestly, we got some celebrity status attached to the show. I'm plugging a little bit. I don't actually think they even needed it. The show is cool.
They didn't.
I love The Circle personally. I love what Netflix is doing just in general and pumping out more reality TV because that's my favorite genre, and no commercials is good to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally forgot they were the host until you mentioned it again. Because they're there for literally one scene today.
I bring them up only to say that they were only there for that one scene and to kind of just set the stage of what this show is about. So I think we should do that as well, just in case anyone's tuning in. You're like, Love is blind. I'm blind. I don't know what's going on. Just totally a joke. Online it's being described as The Bachelor meets Married at First Sight with a dash of The Circle, which we kind of talked about. The premise is it's a social experiment based on blind dating where you're choosing someone to marry without ever seeing them. It's based on the premise that emotional connections are stronger than physical ones, and that's the key to a successful relationship. The people who are involved in the competition cannot look at each other when they communicate through these pods, but they can hear each other.
Right.
So that's how our people are making these connections.
So it really is derivative of derivative. So with Bachelor, you get to see and talk to all the people for a while.
Right.
At Married at First Sight, you get none of it whatsoever. You're just instantly married, right? And so that's actually not. It's in the middle there. You get to talk, but you don't get to see, and you don't have to propose right away. And also, it seems like there's no forced proposal.
True.
So if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Whereas Married at First Sight, someone's, they're definitely getting married. Bachelor, I mean, Christine, you know the history of Bachelor and Bachelorette better than me, but it's very rare that it doesn't end in a proposal.
Right.
It's only happened a couple times, right?
Only a couple times, and I think it more so correlates to a Bachelor in Paradise type show where it's like you can connect, and if you do, great. If not, you get to leave. I want to say the island, but I know that's wrong. You get to leave the resort.
That's my survivor roots.
It is. It's your influence.
Island.
Me and Mike host the Bachelor After Show together, guys. You got to check that out for
It's
sure.
a good show, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What else? What other shows do you host?
Currently here on Monday Night Raw, NXT, Star Trek, Picard, and Curb Enthusiasm.
So you hit all
All the
avenues.
nerd stuff,
Love,
yeah.
sports, everything.
Love is Blind is basically a romance Royal Rumble, is what it is. That's why we rough Lobo in.
Yeah.
I am here for it. So what are just our general thoughts about like just how things start off? Because I know as we were watching it, we were all pretty thrown by how quickly these blind dates are happening.
Right.
It almost seems like speed dating.
Right.
True.
Because the way, you kind of touched on it, there's a certain period where the couples get to know each other. There's a certain period in the real world. And then there's a certain period where they're actually married together. Right. I'm getting that correctly. So initial thoughts on these first few dates?
I like the idea and the premise of it all. I mean, it's definitely, if someone pitched a show to me, like a conversation, I would check it out. But there's so many people in our cast, and they're so quick that I can't have time to find redeeming qualities. It's all like, oh, that guy, oh my gosh. So it took me a while to get to the rhythm of things. I was like, well, who do I root for?
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely felt the same way.
Yeah, I agree. I like the concept of the show. Obviously, I like these shows. Married at First Sight, I watch all of them. So the concept seemed great. What really threw me was I didn't understand, or maybe I'm slow. I didn't realize till about halfway through, okay, we're not going to really meet anybody else. We're just going to focus on these basically 2.5 couples,
right.
Call it. I thought it was going to be more traditional reality show where we're going to meet everybody. Like on Bachelor, we meet all the girls right up front. Then we start to see the interactions. Here we meet just a handful to the point where at the end of the episode, it's like, who are you? Who is
right?
Rory? Were you talking to Rory? Is this an associate producer or something? So, okay, we're going to meet the rest of them as we go on. And actually, I think that makes it a little bit more digestible. Looking back on it, it's okay, we can focus on each specific relationship because the show knows how it's going to play out. So they can show that kind of little journey, and it would be cool. Obviously, we ended tonight in a cliffhanger, but it's going to be cool if we kind of get a face-to-face reveal at the end of each episode and give us something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely a way to keep us on our toes. We'll get to the breaking down the last part of the episode later, so stick around for that. Before we move on to the next topic, though, I want to remind you all that we really appreciate everything that you viewers do for us here at AfterBuzz TV, whether it's giving us a like, a subscribe, giving us a 5-star rating on iTunes. We appreciate it all. It helps keep our network going and helps us provide the content that we love to provide for you. So thanks for making us the ESPN of TV talk. All right, let's jump back into this. Yeah, ding for that.
Producer J-Lo, where's the ding?
Well, we can...
There it is.
There we go. There's the ding. Some snaps for us at AfterBuzz TV.
A different planet I'm on.
So you bring up a good point that we're kind of just focusing on these first few couples.
Yes.
Before we jump into that, though, I want to say I do like the fact that it is going to go this way because imagine how difficult it would be if we got new people getting thrown into the mix every week and having to remember even more names.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, The Circle kind of did it to a good extent. If you guys watch The Circle, it started with 7 or 8 people.
Right.
One would be blocked and the new one would come in. So it kind of kept around that number. We have that same kind of number. They probably have, honestly, these producers have probably done some kind of studies. They say, okay, the average person can remember 7 people in the first episode. So they just show us the 7. We get that. We see the interactions, and the new ones will be peppered in as we go.
Yeah, I was not aware of the format, so I really thought there'd be weeks and weeks of this. And I could imagine if there was rotation or new people, it'd be like, okay, I need a grid, much like this one here.
Yeah, how can you remember she likes him and him and him, but he likes her?
Yeah, need numbers.
That would have been bad. So good job, Netflix.
Good job. I mean, the beauty of this being a new show is like we're gonna kind of learn as we go here.
Yeah, true.
But so far, it seems like Jessica and Mark have already started hitting it off. Jessica is 34 years old. She is a beautiful blonde bombshell who is super into athletes. She kind of is introduced early on as maybe one of the older women of the pack, being that they kept harping on her age so much.
So ridiculous.
They really harp on the 34 thing a lot. It's not by any stretch of the imagination old.
Unless you're a soccer player, right?
Wow, yeah, or a UFC fighter maybe.
It becomes that much more apparent because she does hit it off with Mark, who's 24 years old.
Right.
10 years her junior, rather.
Right.
And they seem to be like very different on paper, but hitting it off right away.
Yeah.
In their pots.
And the connection of religion and all that stuff too. It was interesting for me how much, and not just this couple, but how connections were growing in these pods. If you had told me that you would have found like someone you were really into, I'd have been like, no, we have to see them, or maybe it would be superficial. But some of these couples really go deep, and I was like, okay, great, I'm on board.
Yeah, I mean, at one point they were talking about wanting to raise their kids as Christian, like already getting into those serious, like big questions. Day 2. Do we think it has anything to do with the fact that you're not maybe thrown off by seeing somebody and seeing their reactions to some of these questions, that it's easier for you to just say your truth behind a wall? What do you think?
Go ahead.
I think I'm torn. I think there's the truth behind the wall thing, but then you are on this show because you're looking for it. Because if I saw someone on the subway and I was like, I want to have kids with you, I'll be pulled off so quickly. Yeah. So I think it's kind of a mixture of the perfect storm of that kind of thing.
Again, I'm going to preface this with, I love these shows. I love watching these shows, but I highly separate out reality from what is being filmed. Okay, so God, probably didn't talk about kids with my wife for like years into dating. Okay, so, and that might not be normal or whatever, but look, the fact is they're on a show. They're sequestered in a house with no computers or phones or news or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's a very, very heightened situation. It's very easy to fall into this idea of like, well, I'm on a show. I'm supposed to be falling in love. I'm going to get engaged out of this. So I think a lot of that goes into how quickly people are able to develop connections. I also think the fact that you're actually talking to someone, you're forced to talk to these people and not look at them. So I think if you're in that mindset already, why not go deep? Why not? Well, the whole point we're here is to see if we're going to get engaged. So why not talk about kids? Why not do all this kind of stuff? So there's definitely a forced element to it.
It's also a really quick timeline. We have to be reminded of, again, all these shows. It's like a hyper fast, reality that you're living in. Right. And, you make a good point. There's nothing that can be lost in translation with like body language or what have you. It's like, these are the words I'm saying. This is my truth. You either take it or leave it. You agree or you?
I agree.
But as Barnett pointed out, I think in some way he was trying to say this. I will say it for him in a better way. You lose stuff by not having body language. You can lose sarcasm. You can lose innuendo, and things can easily be misinterpreted, similar to like a text message or something. If you're just hearing words, if you're not seeing the emotion, things like that, it's possible in a different way than text.
Yeah,
it's possible
you can
to
hear the inflection of a voice.
Of course, you can hear the voice, but you could miss the wink. You can miss the smile. There's stuff that comes along with the physically being in front of somebody.
That's true.
I'm glad you brought up Barnett, because he's someone who's already become like a hot ticket in the house.
Villain.
I would give him a villain.
He's a villain.
He's not a good guy.
He likes being a villain.
I don't know. Barnett gives me like...
I'm going to get mine because I'm Barnett.
You said it. Literally, you said it, Flobo. Like,
big time.
Barnett already hits it off with Amber. He also hits it off with Jessica.
And LC.
They did have a connection. Wow, that was so quick, guys.
We saw LC for 32 seconds. So it's okay.
I missed it. But yeah, Jessica and Barnett are hitting it off. Barnett's kind of like... He's already kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? I think as a guy, just like flexing real hard.
Okay. I see that. I see that.
I think he's definitely feeling himself. I think he's got a very strong ego. And I think, no buts. I mean, I guess he's like flexing his personality.
Yeah, he seems to be like, like being kind of like aggressive, very outwardly flirty. And, the women that he's connected with so far seem to be really picking up on that. I initially felt like he and Jessica were like more suited for each other during their conversations, because I felt like she was really playing into his personality, being like laughy and smiley, whereas someone like Amber challenged him a little bit.
Right.
True.
I felt, and I know this is where we're headed, because there's a little love triangle, right?
There's one brewing.
And it's all about Jessica, Barnett, and Mark. I feel like if we could just go there, I think Mark and Jessica... Let's just focus on Jessica.
Yeah.
Mark is probably who she should be married to.
Agreed.
But she's hyper attracted to Barnett.
Agreed.
And that's like the bad boy she probably spends a lot of time dating in the real world, which is why she's on the show to begin with.
True. And the fact that she has that aggressive bad boy and someone who is a good guy at the same time at her advanced age, it seems to be a bit of a fallout for her.
I mean, it's either get married on the show or she's going into the retirement home, basically.
Right, 35.
I think, and what I thought by the end of the episode, I actually thought I saw a little bit of manipulation coming in from Barnett, because Barnett sees her and the connection with Mark,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna lose out on my opportunity, so I'm gonna go into the pod and like huff and no, well, I don't know, I want to say anything. And then she's like, what? Tell me. So that's got some tinges of manipulation going on. No,
Sidebar.
Christine?
Every clip of him was a different angle in that chair. It was, it was like a cartoon. What you're
Yeah.
saying. I'm sorry, that was random.
Kind of reminds me of like Ray J with his hat moving in different directions. Great meme if you haven't seen it. Definitely applies to this situation. I don't remember what I was gonna say about them, but I feel like it's interesting because the guys live together in this show and the women live together separately.
Yeah.
So there is that opportunity for everyone to kind of chat about where they're at with their respective significant others. So that definitely kind of introduces the game playing kind of aspect here, because now the guys are privy to the information that Jessica, likes more than one person. She's an equal opportunity employer here. So it definitely complicates things a little bit. But as you kind of hinted, it seems like Jessica and Barnett are really trying to go the long haul with each other.
I mean, it seems like, I'm gonna contrast. It seems like Mark's really into her.
Yeah.
So
I
don't
think he's
know.
into her, but I mean, who do we think is gonna be the victor here?
Well, if the victors look like it's going to be, what's his name? Barnett. But,
Yeah.
But Mark, definitely the fact that he's like, I'm okay with what you consider your flaws. I know we make fun of her age, but the fact she considers it a flaw, and he's like, I don't care.
Right.
I still like you. That's just a lot more than someone being like, yeah, I just, I think you're cute and you're
Yeah.
smart.
I guess I was leaning more. I agree with you, and I think I was leaning more towards that because Mark, as cute and adorable as he is, gives me such fuckboy vibes.
Oh, no.
Guys.
You wouldn't give him a shot?
Really?
I don't know.
I have a
He's-
tattoo of God
You
right
are
here for
so okay.
Something
Christine,
about his-
Christine is jaded from the
Fair.
previous season of Bachelorette with Jed. She saw the guitar. She saw Mark bring the guitar, and she was like, "I've seen this story before. It doesn't end
Are you
well."
jaded?
I mean, maybe, but like, I don't know. Okay, I'm speaking as the female voice on this panel from my just pure like vibes from his initial edit was like, I don't know, I got that just
Yeah.
something about his overt confidence is just telling me like, I don't know, I have a feeling there's something we need to look out for.
More
with
than
him.
Barnett? Barnett's
not more than
way
Barnett.
exuding
See,
more,
that's what
more
happens.
ego, cocky attitude
Don't
than
open
Mark.
your feelings, man, because Barnett was doing it. He's number 1 position according to Christine. Just don't
You know
share
what I
your
think?
feelings, guys.
I think it was at one point, and there was like a brief montage where we saw these people interact with other people we didn't see, and I think I saw a lot of flirtiness from Mark that had me like, weren't you just obsessed with Jessica? I don't know. Everything is moving really quickly, but there is one solid connection to come out of tonight's episode, which is Cameron and Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I sense some sarcasm
feeling?
here, or not
Oddly-
sarcasm, but
Doubt,
Doubt.
maybe oddly quick. I mean, you got, I don't know. I feel like you got to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, and obviously we're going to see where it goes. I don't hope anything bad for them, but I just, after knowing someone for 3 days and being like, I love you, let's get married, and I'd never seen them before. Like, do you even know? I guess he did know her middle name. Do you know what she likes for dinner? I don't know. It's just like, I'm very skeptical of stuff like this.
It was definitely quick, and the fact he had her full name, Lauren Michelle Speed, I love you too. To me, it was nice and it was organic. I dug it. It was pretty fast. But and I remember we were watching in our studio, and I was like, man, I really hope they really like each other when it gets revealed,
Right.
because there's a tinge of being like, oh, you're the person I liked. I think you're good still.
Right.
But I mean, for what it is right now, I think it's pretty much the purest story we have going.
It definitely is. So I look at it from that skepticism though, because for a show like, itch. For a show like Married at First Sight, they get married right off the bat, right? And then they have 8 weeks to basically get to know each other and find out if they want to divorce or stay together. So there's not a lot of illusions in that show right off the bat that we're so in love, but they kind of know, okay, we're just gonna do it and then we'll kind of figure it out. This is almost the extreme opposite. They decided like, yes, we're in love, for sure, 100%, and I'm gonna propose and I'm gonna accept, and then they wait 8 weeks to see if that was actually true or not.
Right.
maybe they're just flipping the system on its head in that respect.
I guess,
I
yeah.
mean, if you got a feeling, do you go ahead and do it? Like, you find like the one, you just go ahead and do it, or you wait some time to make sure it's really something infatuation?
I
They're
asked
not
my
afforded
wife.
the luxury of
Yeah,
time.
well, I mean,
I asked my wife what to do.
days, like day 2 versus day 5. I don't
Right.
mean like.
Yeah.
Well, but remember, we're also talking day 2 and day 5. They talk to each other for hours. It's not like they've been talking all day.
True.
They have these little dates that probably last like an hour. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I mean, you make a good point, again, about this being time, these small moments between each other, but they seem to really connect on the fact that they're both so sensitive and in tune with their emotions. I think that is what really fast-tracked their connection to each other.
No argument here.
I know we kind of had a lot of off-screen discussions about their race and just that kind of dynamic, because Lauren did mention early on in one of her confessionals that she really only dated black guys prior to this point, and Cameron is white. I just think it's worth discussing because the episode did end right before they meet each other, and I'm really curious to see if that'll affect how they feel about each other after the fact.
Oh, absolutely. There's this thing about like the whole, is love truly blind? And we always say we want it to be blind because personality is a very, very heavy part of it. But there is a bit of a physical thing. Like in Lauren's case, not a bad thing when your preference will open up the dating pool to whoever you go out for. So now you're getting voices and stories and all that. You're like, well, I'm going to give this guy a chance. Is it really true? So I'm sitting there going, I hope it works out. For the sake of the society, I hope it does. But there may be a little bit of a cynicism part of me being like, I don't know.
They seem like a really, really great couple. We talk about this a lot on Married at First Sight as well. To what extent does physicality matter, right? What physical attraction? I've said oftentimes on our show that on Married at First Sight, I wish the experts had laid out a whole board full of pictures of people and say, who are you attracted to? Because if you all of a sudden are revealed to the other person and there's no physical attraction whatsoever, I feel like you're dooming the relationship right from the start. So
you're saying something like, maybe not showing them like the exact people who are going to be on the show, but maybe like a board of like celebrity archetypes. Like, are you more in the like Leonardo DiCaprio side versus the Will Smiths or
100%? Definitely not. Definitely not the actual people who are on the show.
Right.
But what are you into? Do you like brunettes? Do you like tall guys? Do you like skinny guys? Do you like blonde? Whatever. All the kind of physical traits, so that the people in there have at least a shot. I feel like physical attraction, while for sure it is not everything, emotional attraction and intellectual, huge. I think you need the whole picture. But if you're not going to have physical attraction, I think you're really dooming it from the start.
Dang.
I have to agree. And I think also, to your note about having the full picture, is also knowing someone's sexuality. And that's something that kind of comes into play with a couple that we didn't see a ton from, but from the preview, it looks like we're going to get a lot more of Diamond and Carlton, who also are one of the early connections to really hit it off.
Carlton got on my bad side right off the bat, though.
Carlton definitely rubbed us the wrong way.
Dissed Amber. I thought that was so rude. Maybe they edited it more than it really was.
Yeah, but he had dope jackets, so that was
He has dope jackets.
He seems like their storyline seems like it's going to challenge a lot of things about relationships and what you can and will or won't put up with.
We'll see.
We'll see, definitely. We are running low on time, so I definitely want to jump into our special segment for this week. We are getting to know the show just as much as you are. So for today, we are just going to share whether or not we've been on a blind date.
Yeah, I have not, thankfully enough.
Short special segment.
I've done speed dating, and that was always fun because it's like a bus. If you miss that date, you get the next one. But I can never say, I'll agree to a blind date. I mean, that's way too scary.
I went on a speed dating event one time, and my wife went with me. I'll explain. We were just dating at the time, and I had found this listing somewhere as like a job to host the events. And I said, yeah, I'll do that, no problem. And then the company said, we don't need that right now, but you can go to our event for free and check it out. So I said, Raquel, let's go. So she sat at the bar and let me go around to all these different women as she watched.
She was the one. She is the one.
And there were
MVP.
There were some weird girls there. Like I was at, with this girl, and the next girl I was going to, I guess, was listening to my whole conversation. So when I got to her, she was like, "You're Mike. You're from New Jersey, right?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And then she didn't match with me.
That's
strange.
Terrible. Well, I've never got set up on a. It wasn't truly blind because I knew a little bit about the person before I was set up with them, but it definitely, I felt like, was just the weirdest pairing ever. Yeah, I will never let my sister and my girlfriends take my phone and set up something like that ever again. But I will say, to cap off our special segment, I don't think that Love is Blind. Do you?
I guess now, no. I will say I will sit back and say, of course it is, man. But watching a show like this, there's no way I can do that. I think a lot of it is what you see, as well as a sense, you know?
I think Love is blind to things and to certain circumstances and stuff. I don't think verbatim it's accurate, but I think if you love somebody, that you excuse certain things that maybe you wouldn't have.
That's way more mature than my answer.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I say that to say I think the show is going to explore every version of that for sure.
Yeah.
So like we said earlier, the episode kind of ends with a cliffhanger. So I guess our predictions for next week is that we'll see how that ends up with Cameron and Lauren.
I like the I always call it the coming attractions. I like the coming attractions for the next episode because it seemed like we get a lot of drama once they get out of the pod house thing, studio, whatever. True. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, same here. I've definitely seen the family, extended family. How's that going to turn out for you?
Yeah, it gets spicy.
Yeah, how do you explain that? Oh, man, a reality show, Netflix, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is anyone going to pull out last minute or change their mind? Who knows? We'll have to wait till next week to wait and find out, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on our recap. As a reminder, Netflix is going to be dropping these in batch episodes, so we're going to try our best to cover it the most cohesive way that we can and keep you all entertained. Yeah. But in the meantime, you can connect with us on social media. Mike, where can everyone find you?
Guys, thanks so much. My name is Mike Feeling. You find me everywhere at Mike Feeling.
Flobo. Hey, I'm Flobo Boys. Follow me at Twitter at Flobo Boys, on Instagram at Flobito, and of course, Flobito.com.
Yeah, I love the branding. You can find me, Christine Alexis, on Twitter at Christine Bean with 3 E's, and on Instagram at Christine I Alexis, and we'll see you next time.
Touch the screen.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.